Hi, everyone. Thanks again for joining me. Before we get started on the next chapter, let's talk a little bit about last week's chapter. Last week, Father Jay started out this section with what he called Part 4. This is where Father Jay is going to address meditation. He dedicates the remainder of this book to his meditation experiences and also guides us on ways that we can learn to meditate. There is a lot of information there, so I suggest you go back and listen to the previous chapters to get some pointers that can help you out on your meditative journey. Whether you're a beginner in meditation or have been meditating for years, I know the methods that he shares are going to help me in my meditation practice. Fortunately, Father Jay also did some meditation tapes that contain short guided meditations that I am sure you will enjoy. I have provided the link to the playlist of his meditations in the description below. And now let's go and see what Father Jay has to share with us this week. Chapter 18, Know Thyself. How many more idols must you find before you realize that you are the one you have been searching for? Dan Fogelberg. Know thyself is the beginning of wisdom. This has been stated by Plato and all great philosophers for centuries. This is not a suggestion, but rather a necessity. To begin the pursuit of self-knowledge, there only are two requirements demanded: a sincere desire to seek the truth and a consistent willingness to move forward. Meditation does not have to be long, but rather be consistent. Seek first the kingdom of God, and all these things will be given to you besides, said the greatest master of meditation. And where did the Master Jesus say the kingdom of God is? As I am willing to repeat often, the kingdom of God is within you. Is it not logical to begin the quest for truth by turning within? Many people have been looking for answers to their basic questions about God, life, purpose, and so forth, from others, from books, cassettes, videos, from lectures, from anywhere outside themselves, and come away still asking the same questions. The answers are God-given. They come with a package, so to speak, being created in God's image. The knowledge of who we are and the purpose for our existence were included in the gift of life. Discovery of the truth is simply remembering the truth within. The ultimate goal of every human being seeking truth is a greater awareness of God and who we truly are in our relationship to God. Anything less than that strays from our ultimate purpose in being created by our divine parent. Proper preparation of body and mind, and consecrating ourselves in prayer, humility, and a contrite spirit is the path of enlightenment. Then, when we call out in meditation, the answer will be given. Attunement to the divine or Christ consciousness is very possible once the right decision is made. Recall what was said in the Old Testament in the book of Joshua 24:15. Decide today whom you will serve. As for me and my household, we will serve the Lord. This statement was serious and was meant as a lifelong decision. There is much said these days about the road less traveled or the narrow path. That path is very rewarding even in this life, but it does demand some discipline and a higher level of awareness. It is easy to find oneself moving off course, knowingly or unknowingly. We live in a world of instant gratification. There are many electronic appliances that make it possible. Remote control of the television set, the remote garage opener, microwave ovens, electric can openers, and many more items are within reach of the typical American family. We also have quick ways of getting where we want by car or by plane. We can also connect faster by telephone or through the internet, with its countless forms of on-the-spot communication, including email services. Life can be filled with information, knowledge, and electronic correspondence without ever leaving home. To ask someone to practice some form of discipline that would interfere with any of the many forms of communication that gratify us does not go well usually. To advise someone to go within, to find the answers they seek, does not usually impress the listener. And so, to request a continued, daily, ongoing, consistent effort To know oneself, one's purpose, and one's place in the universe through meditation loses its appeal for a good percentage of people in America. The goal is very attractive, but time and patience are usually lacking. It is quite the opposite of instant enlightenment or immediate results through electronic equipment or some other outside mechanism. It would be so much easier just to read about meditation, watch a program about it on television, or surf through the internet for answers. On the contrary, meditation is definitely a hands-on, do-it-yourself experience. Only in recent years has rapid progress been made in the understanding of how the mind works, and we have only started. As I understand it, there is only one mind, the universal mind of God. All minds simply share in the great mind of God. We are told that we are created in the image and likeness of God. Strangely enough, I still meet people who believe that their physical body is included as God's image and likeness. This cannot be so. The physical body can never be modeled after pure spirit. It would be a contradiction. As Jesus said to Nicodemus in John 3:6, flesh begets flesh, spirit begets spirit. Only our spirit and the higher mind, through which the spirit functions, are created in the image and likeness of God. God's infinite energy, spirit, functions through his infinite or universal mind and his divine will. We are only a tiny spark of God's infinity. Nevertheless, we are highly complimented when both the Old and the New Testament say we are as gods. Jesus himself testifies to this. The word mind can be confusing, since we speak of the conscious mind, the subconscious mind, and the superconscious mind. Are there three minds? No. There is only one mind seen from three different aspects. Let's begin with the conscious mind, which is the most familiar. It is the conscious mind that we use from morning till night each day in our awakened state, because this aspect of mind is needed to function properly in this three-dimensional world. The conscious mind is a powerful commander of the forces within us. However, on the negative side, the conscious mind is quite limited in its views. It came into existence when we were born, and it grew up with our body, learning from the five senses and other outside input what life is all about. It is also associated with the ego because of its focus on the lower self and the personal belief that its total self, including body, mind, and spirit, is separate from all others. The ego, or conscious mind, tends to be quite narrow, fundamental, and distorted because of its limitations of thought and rejection of unseen realities. Notice on page 235, the diagram demonstrates how little the conscious mind knows. It is compared to the tip of an iceberg, upside down, in which the bulk of the iceberg is hidden. In the same way, most of our knowledge is hidden in the subconscious and superconscious mind. Egos clash all the time. Family feuds, violence, war, and every sort of conflict stem from two or more limited thinking egos engaging in a confrontation over values or a point of view. The conscious mind insists on winning all the time. I win, you lose. The conscious mind tends to be selfish, rude, intolerant, and demanding. The list is much longer. I am sure we all have met people that, unfortunately, fall into the above categories. One of our greatest blessings is having the subconscious mind as part of human life. The subconscious mind, another aspect of mind, is truly a godsend. Our personal subconscious mind has thousands of jobs to take care of, including all of the involuntary activity of a human being to stay alive, such as maintaining and regulating the heartbeat, the blood pressure and circulation, the lungs and breathing patterns, the digestive system, and much more that we are not aware of as we live and breathe each day. At the same time, our personal subconscious mind is also our servant, our biocomputer that is capable of fulfilling almost all our wishes within reason. The amazing computer is modeled after the subconscious mind. Just as you put software into a computer to operate a particular program, we do the same with our subconscious mind or biocomputer. If negative thoughts are believed and repeated frequently, such as "I will never amount to anything in life," a command has been programmed. It will be fulfilled as the Master insists. You may not realize it, but your conscious mind is the operator, the boss, the big chief giving orders to your incredible biocomputer, for good or for bad. Be careful what you say and mean, especially when said with emphasis. The biocomputer, like an electronic computer, only does what it is commanded literally. So if you say with emotion, "You make me sick," "That really kills me," "He is a pain in the neck," "He is a pain in the behind," you may have other words. "I am sick and tired of your excuses. That kid, or my mother-in-law, my job, my neighbor, will be the death of me yet." I think the point is made. If repeated, serious illness or consequences may follow. And we can't blame God for this one. An interesting example that is true but quite sad is what happened to one of my students when I was teaching mind development. A young lady got up and shared her story. She said her favorite expression was, "I can't stand it." A few years later, she developed the most unusual condition. A bone started growing on the bottom of her feet. It became so painful to walk on either foot that she required surgery to remove the bones that appeared, in a sense, out of nowhere. She said the doctors were totally amazed. They performed the surgery, but medical science could not explain the cause. At least, not by the book. The real villain was the conscious mind repeating a negative statement to the subconscious mind, the faithful servant which fulfills the master's every command. Another true story. A businessman, I will withhold his name, was told by his boss that he had to move to Chicago because of some downsizing that was required by the company. He said nothing against the city of Chicago, but all his family, relatives, and friends, his whole life was situated in the suburbs of Detroit. Mainly, his heart was there. He was soon on his way to Chicago by train. He hated the thought. It became so heartrending to leave home and unbearably painful to take up another life that there was only one way out. He died of a heart attack on the train, midway between the two cities. He had been in excellent health up until that point. There are many examples of tragic consequences that follow strong negative programming. On the other hand, we are also able to have positive thoughts with positive results. I will wake up tomorrow morning feeling better than I have felt in a long time. I will awaken at 5:20 a.m. tomorrow. I will be calm when I see the doctor tomorrow. I no longer need to smoke. I no longer need to nibble on food between meals, or eat candy, red meat, or drink too much. Please understand this process correctly. Just because you say things does not mean they are going to happen. You must first ask yourself if you are serious about making changes in your living habits, and are you accustomed to making suggestions to your subconscious mind and expecting results. If not, your incredible servant, the subconscious mind, will probably respond, "Are you talking to me?" Or, "Look who's talking." Confidence and trust must be developed first. Try something simple first, such as, "I will awaken at exactly 6:30 a.m. tomorrow morning." When you are able to awaken at any hour you choose, then move on to something else. There is no limit to what you can accomplish if you are making firm suggestions without any doubt whatsoever, and conforming to God's law and the universal laws set in motion by God. If someone questions this process saying, "Are we not supposed to have faith only in God?" I would answer, yes. However, God is all. God is everywhere. There is nothing outside of God. All power in heaven and on earth and throughout the universe is God's power. There are many ways to put God's power into operation. We put faith and trust in our parents, in the Constitution of our country, in our teachers, in our churches, in our conscience, and in our religious leaders. Can we not put faith in ourselves? Why would we lack confidence and faith in the subconscious mind that formed our body, according to the blueprint of genes and DNA? It is the same mind that is still in charge of maintaining life and giving us the help of God when called upon. St. Paul reminds us, "We know that in all things God works for good with those who love him." Our life evolves and unfolds according to our desires and goals, and to the more spiritual person, our ideals. Faith without any doubt whatsoever, the size of a mustard seed, is enough to bring about healing even when it seems impossible. You have the ability to remove fear, worry, or anxiety. You can overcome a bad temper and improve your health condition. You can be peaceful and happy regardless of what is happening around you. When parents have children, the children, being of the same nature as the parents, are able to function in the same manner as the parents. Being God's children, we too are creative to the extent that we are able to function as co-creators with our divine parent. Faith in God and faith in oneself go hand in hand. Jesus said to the blind man asking for help, "Receive your sight, your faith has healed you." 7 different times in the Gospels, the Lord clarifies that it was their faith that healed them. The Master even affirmed in Mark 11, chapter 22 to 24, "Put your trust in God. I solemnly assure you, whoever says to this mountain, 'Be lifted up and thrown into the sea,' and has no inner doubt, but believes that what he says will happen, shall have it done for him. I give you my word. If you are ready to believe that you will receive whatever you ask for in prayer, it shall be done for you." He adds in St. Matthew's Gospel, "Nothing would be impossible for you." Actually, it would take a whole book to understand this tremendous power that is available to us. Read Dr. Joseph Murphy's book, The Power of Your Subconscious Mind. It is really a classic on this subject. There are also many other books that deal with the miraculous servant, subconscious mind, available to us. Allow me to share with you a miraculous event that took place in Dearborn Heights, Michigan on November 21st, 1998. I was invited to the home of one of the parishioners of St. Mel's Parish. She had also invited Barbara, a guest I did not know personally, but may have seen in church. Barbara asked me if I would bless her, which I did, of course. She was filled with confidence of success, and her faith and trust in the Lord were strong. She felt comforted by the healing blessing I gave her, but she knew it was God's power we draw on to work the miraculous. Unknown to me, Barbara was about to have surgery for a very large ulcer that was threatening not only her stomach, but her life as well, if it became cancerous. 4 times she had undergone an EGE. If you are curious, as I was, it stands for esophagastroduodenoscopy. The results were clear. The ulcer was unchanged and was still a threat. Surgery was arranged for December 7, 1998 at Garden City Hospital. Dr. Spinell performed the surgery. During the operation, there was some confusion. Dr. Spinell could not find the ulcer. While in the operating room, the surgeon called the other doctor who had taken the x-rays. Once again, he was informed exactly where the ulcer was, and so he returned to the operating room and looked again for the ulcer. He still could not find it. He then requested the doctor who had performed the test on her to come to the operating room, which he did. Together, they still could not find it. Both doctors were ready to testify that it was impossible that the ulcer of this size and nature could have healed in such a short period of time. The operation was successful, except that nothing took place but the revelation that God is still active in the world. Doctors are normally not accustomed to call something miraculous. This case was an exception. They sewed her up and sent her to her room. The doctor expressed total amazement. She told the doctor she was not surprised at all. A priest had blessed her, and she believed she was healed, and she was. Was it my blessing that brought about the healing? I do not think so. It was her faith in God that would make her well, even if it took a miracle to do it. Her faith set up the conditions for the impossible to happen. It did. The subconscious mind received the message of complete trust. God blessed that prayer as requested. There is another aspect to the subconscious mind. It is not limited to our bodies only. All minds are connected through the subconscious, and it is possible to access this network of minds. ESP is based on this premise. Psychics are able to pick up information about a person they have never met before by attunement to that person's subconscious. In the Silva method of mind development, millions of students who have taken the course were able to tap into the subconscious mind of a particular person simply by being given the name and city of that person in mind. This is called psychic diagnosis because the diagnosis of a sickness or an unhealthy condition is detected from a distance. It does not matter where that person is on the planet. They zero in on the right person out of billions of possibilities. The success rate is phenomenal. This has all been researched and documented. Again, My discovery of how the subconscious mind works occurred to me one day as I was driving to the northeast part of the city of Detroit. It was in the morning, and I started to daydream, watching the sun and the morning clouds. Without realizing it, I had gotten off the freeway at the wrong exit. Trying to get back on, I made a couple more wrong turns. Now I wasn't sure where I was going. I found myself retracting my tracks. I stopped for a moment and thought about it. Then I realized I was not far from the home of a couple that I knew for many years, but had not seen in a long time. I decided to surprise them with a visit. When the wife came to the door, she was not surprised at all. She said, "Thank God, you got my message." "What message?" I fell back in complete surprise. "I called you on the phone this morning," she replied. "You must have phoned after I left the rectory." Then it dawned on both of us that somehow I got her message without the phone call. Our minds were connected on a subconscious level, as are all minds. What a great gift and power resides in each of us. It is difficult to imagine any mind greater than the one just described. Yet, the superconscious mind, higher mind, is far greater in scope and ability. It is normally not in contact with the material world. The spirit energy functions through the higher mind in a dimension beyond this three-dimensional world. The higher mind is always in communion with God. If we could see our spirit and the higher mind, we would probably mistake it for God and fall on our knees in worship. We really have no idea of our greatness. A divine parent produces offspring with divine qualities. Although we are merely a point of consciousness or awareness in the universal mind of God, there was no question that we came from divine stock. To communicate, know, or experience the higher mind or our inner spirit, we have to raise above ourselves and ascend to its spiritual level. This I will take up in the last chapter. The diagram of the six-pointed star on page 236 represents the approximately 6 billion people living in the world today. Each of us has a conscious mind, like the tip of the iceberg. Hidden within is the subconscious mind, which includes imagination, creativity, and memory. Beyond that is the higher mind and the spirit, created in God's image. We are joined with one another and with our divine source. This is heaven on earth. This is oneness. This is home. Here is the place where we belong. Unfortunately, there is little or no direct communication between our conscious and our superconscious mind. Some people, unfortunately, never become aware of this godly force within us in their whole lifetime. The next 8 pages are diagrams, which I will describe as you see the image on the screen. Please pause the video to get more details. Diagram 1. The mind of God compared to our limited mind. Diagram 2. 6-pointed star signifies 6 individual persons. Multiplied, it actually represents the 6 billion persons on the planet. Diagram 3. The 7 spiritual centers or chakras in every human being. Diagram 4. The Caduceus or medical symbol. Originally, this was a symbol of healing through meditation. Diagram 5. The Sephiroth, the tree of life. Diagram 6. The spiritual centers imposed on the tree of life, according to the Kabbalah. Diagram 7. The spiritual centers according to the German mystic Johann Georg Gestell. And the 8th and final diagram is the spiritual centers and the Lord's Prayer. This diagram goes hand in hand with one of Father J's meditations, which is entitled The Lord's Prayer, Awakening the 7 Energy Centers, or Circulation of Light Meditation. A link to that meditation and all of the other meditation tapes that Father J did will be in the description below this video. Thank you for listening, and please join us every Sunday for our watch party at our new premiere time of 2:30 Pacific Time as I premiere the next chapters of Father J's book.